Welcome to the Learning League podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl Powell, owner of Learn to Engage. This is the show that challenges the way we think about leadership, learning, and performance in today's fast moving world. And in this episode, we're diving into a timely and transformative topic that impacts every industry right now: how AI, agility, and sustainability can work together to shape the future of business. Our guest today is Sandeep Joshi, Managing Director at Massivue and a global voice in SustainAgility, productivity, and AI reinvention. With more than 25 years of experience driving organizational transformation, Sandeep's helped companies bridge the gap between innovation and real measurable outcomes. He's the architect of the SustainAgility Framework and the creator of the Protum Framework, both designed to help organizations grow responsibly, work smarter, and stay future ready in a rapidly changing world. Can make better decisions in this age of automation and what it takes to drive transformation that actually sticks. Welcome, Sandeep.
Thank you, Cheryl. It's an honor to be here.
So happy to have you today. Thank you for taking time out.
Yes, absolutely.
I'd love to start by having you share a bit about your professional background and what inspired you to start Massivue.
So, I have spent the better part of my career helping organizations solve
Mm.
complex problems, whether that's been in strategy, operations, or digital transformation. I have always been fascinated by the gap between where companies are and where they want to be, and more importantly, how to bridge that gap in practical, sustainable ways. Uh, Massivue came from recognizing a pattern. Many organizations were struggling not because they lacked ambition or resources, but because they needed someone who could translate big ideas into actionable roadmaps. When I started my transformation consulting journey back in 2010, what I have seen over the years that many companies, the transformation were happening only on PowerPoint slides. And I wanted to
Yeah.
make them real. I wanted to build something that could meet organizations where they are and help them navigate growth and change without the usual consulting overhead or one size fits all approaches. And that's
Mm.
where Massivue came to existence.
Yeah. And it's definitely needed in this day and time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Now, what about today? So, we understand how you started. Today, how are you helping organizations navigate growth and transformation in practical ways?
Today, Massivue focus on helping organizations think through their most pressing strategic challenges, whether
Okay.
that's growth, transformation, or building resilience in these uncertain times. We are a very hands-on and practical consulting company with proven models. So
Hmm.
rather than delivering thick reports that sit on shelves, we work alongside the leadership team to co-create solutions along with them. In today's world, what we see more and more that there is a lot of noise in the industry around
Yeah.
just tools like AI or greenwashing in sustainability. What we as a company do is we work with the leadership team to rethink their operating model, develop a
Hmm.
digital strategy that makes sense for their reality, not copying and pasting somebody else's model and hoping that it will work. Rather,
Yeah.
create their own model and build capability along with them so that
Mm.
what we are building is not just one off, it is something that will stick, it is long term, and it is
Yeah.
also very, very tangible and sustainable.
Mm. And long term is definitely the key.
Yeah.
Now, you created um, some frameworks. Is that part of what you use to build those models for your clients?
Yes, those frameworks are an integral part of our offerings. So the first framework that I have created, it's Sustain Agility, which
Okay.
combines sustainability and agility together. And the basis for that framework came from the fact that when we talk about sustainability, many people think it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem, right? Saving the world is not my cup of tea. So people
Yes.
sometimes think about sustainability in a very broad context and sometimes in a very narrow context. So there is a spectrum that needs to be filled in. And I
Mm.
personally believe that at the speed at which we are destroying the planet by our actions,
Mm.
the actions that we take in the name of sustainability is not enough to save it. And
Yeah.
that's where I wanted to combine the speed through agility to make sure that we are fast tracking some of these efforts. And this acceleration when sustainability and agility comes together is the
Mm.
phenomena that I call as sustain agility. So in this framework,
Mm.
I help organizations think end to end and
Yeah.
integrate sustainability throughout the organization from their sustainable finance, sustainable business functions, sustainable IT, sustainable leadership, and sustainable product management. So,
Mm.
sustainability doesn't become an add on, rather, sustainability becomes something that is part of their DNA. So,
Mm.
this framework is something that organizations are getting more and more comfortable with now, and they also are
Yeah.
looking at accelerating sustainability throughout the organization rather than
Yeah.
just creating a shiny deck or report. So that's one
Yeah.
framework or
Or
model.
or a
Yes,
statement that they put on their website.
absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, at some point in time, we need to go beyond the CSR activities. I mean, beach cleanup is good, don't take me wrong, but making sure that, beach doesn't get dirty is the starting point. So
Exactly.
yes, absolutely. So then the
What
second
about,
framework is, yeah,
yeah,
sorry, the
Protum?
second
I was just
framework,
yeah,
yeah, Protum. That's where I
Protum.
was going also. So Protum is a hard work that we have been putting together for last 16, 17 months. So since the kind of invent of AI and all the buzz around AI, what we have been seeing is there is a lot of excitement, there is a lot of investment, but there is very less outcomes or outputs from a ROI perspective. And when we talk about the returns on investment, we are not just talking about the dollar, but also from a company's perspective. What is it that
Mhm.
I'm getting when I'm using AI? Where should I use it? How should I use it? And what is the real impact of it, right? So there is a lot of fear currently in the market when we talk about AI
Yes.
because a lot of people are reading all the headlines from the companies around
Mhm.
the losing of the jobs, companies eliminating a lot of workforce. It and many of it is attributed to AI. So
Yes.
when we started looking at the state of affairs in AI, we started thinking about how do we make it more structured, and that's when we started putting together from strategy to operation. How do you make AI real? How do you integrate AI with where it is really required and can produce business outcomes which are sustainable, ethical, and also more and more um, friendlier to business to do the real good for the planet? And that's where Protum kind of evolved, or Protum was born. So
Yeah.
it helps organizations to go from strategy to execution in a very structured approach. It helps them look at their flow of work, their interaction model, and also the overall metrics that they should track on.
Hmm. Related to their specific industry.
Absolutely. So you can apply it.
Yeah.
It's industry agnostic, so you can very well apply it in any industry. Currently, what we see is more and more companies in financial domain, in manufacturing, some of the clients in aviation or even
Mhm.
automobile,
Right.
they are using this
Right.
framework to obviously accelerate the adoption of AI, but also
Hmm.
integrating AI in the overall workflows and I would say from the floor to the upper houses.
Yes. So that kind of leads me to my next question. Since you're working across multiple industries over the years, what experiences or lessons um, have most shaped how you approach your work now?
It's an interesting question. So working across industries taught me that while every sector has its unique dynamics, the fundamental challenge or challenges leaders face are surprisingly similar. And those are mostly related to change. Many
Yes.
of the times I see that, people or leaders, they struggle with how to adapt to change, how to build engaging and engage teams, and how to innovate without losing what makes them successful. So
Hmm.
these three kind of challenges are pretty similar no matter which industry you go to. And one
That's
of
an
the biggest
interesting.
lessons has, yes,
That's an
one
interesting
of the,
triangle you just
yes.
depicted.
Yes, yes. I mean, when you put it like a
Hmm.
triangle, absolutely right. I mean, how
Oh,
to adapt to change, how to build the teams, and how to innovate. Yes, and they are all interlinked.
yes.
Absolutely. So
Hmm.
one of the biggest lessons has been the importance of context.
Yeah.
A, s- a solution that works brilliantly in one industry might fail in another, not because the
Yeah.
logic is wrong, but because the
Hmm.
culture, constraint, or timings are different.
Yes. I didn't even think about culture. That's another element. Yeah.
Yes, and it hugely impacts. I mean, this taught me to listen deeply first, and the resist to urge to transplant solutions wholesale. Right. So this is something
Yes.
that and I kind of learned over the period of time that it is very important to first understand the context, because sometimes your pre-assumptions and apprehensions might lead you to a solution which is not required
Yeah.
at all. You might be solving a wrong problem to start with.
Mm. It is so true. I mean, it's true with what I do as well. I can't tell you a learning solution off the top of my head until I sit down and have a conversation with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, um, I find it fascinating how you connect sustainability with business strategy and innovation. How did your interest in sustainability even develop?
Sustainability, my journey with sustainability, I would say it started back in 2010, where it was an incident that took place. The village that I come from, it saw a drought season, and I saw that
Okay.
where so in the village even there was a real lake of water, and people were struggling to find. I saw the farmers were still doing okay,
Mm.
but not so much the
Okay.
people who are not used to farming and not used to understand the water preservation and reuse kind of techniques. And that kind of,
Mm,
intrigued me that, this is not unusual to have, lake of water. This can happen anytime, anywhere. How do we make
yeah.
sure that, we understand and learn this? So this one event kind of, triggered a point where
Hmm.
I said, how do we do this in business? Because business is also same,
Yeah.
right? It's not always green or always in the same mode of speed. Businesses can go up and down.
Yeah.
So my
Yeah.
interest grew in sustainability from a realization that short-term thinking was creating massive risks for not just environment but also for business. And that was the starting
Yeah, it's
journey. And I
fascinating.
started seeing, yes, I started seeing how companies that ignored sustainability were increasingly vulnerable to regulatory changes, supply chain disruptions, and shifting customer expectations. This was, I would say, the first 5, 6 years was um, not very evident from the changes and things that were happening globally. But since I would say 2016, 17, the number of events that we have seen from a global climate perspective, also the number of changes that we have seen from the business disruption perspective has completely changed my outlook towards sustainability and business risk. And I see them like now it drew me to connect it with business strategy, and that that I believe and I am now fully convinced that sustainability isn't a separate track from business success. It's increasingly central to it. The
Absolutely.
most forward-thinking organizations, they understand that sustainable practices drive innovation. And
Absolutely.
yes, and as I was going through my journey with SustainAgility, more and more I saw people think that sustainability is a cost from business perspective. And this notion of sustainability
Yeah.
as a cost um, creates an entry barrier for a lot of many businesses that they want to do the right thing, but they are unable to do because they think it is a cost and it will create more work for them.
Right.
So, so one of the things that we do in SustainAgility is bringing the profitability and sustainability together, so
Right.
that people think that it will drive the growth. It will also build resilience, and it's not about sacrifice. It's about smarter business models that create value for multiple stakeholders over long term.
Yeah, and I think that you hit the nail on the head when you said understanding that we have to look long term instead of short term, just changing our view or our perspective. I was in a webinar the other day. Actually, it was a networking event, and the speaker asked, "How many of you um, have a solid plan in place for the final push in this quarter for your January fulfillment, right?
Mhm.
How many
Yes.
of you have a solid plan?" And no one raised their hand
Mhm.
because no one was thinking about what's going to happen in January. They're just thinking
Absolutely.
about how am I going to survive in November?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it was very interesting. So it is very difficult, especially as a small business, to really do future planning. Yeah, and that
Fully
align.
agree.
Yeah, yeah, and that aligns right into sustainability and what you're
Yes.
saying. Um, let's just switch to AI for a second. Many organizations are just still trying to find out, trying to understand, how to use AI effectively. When you work with a new client, how do you begin that conversation?
It's an interesting question because most of the time when clients reach out to us, their first statement to us is, we are being told by our board or CEO to use AI. So we need to use AI.
That's interesting.
Um, yeah. So then, then I usually start my conversation by asking what problems they are trying to solve, not
Yeah,
by not looking at what AI tools they want to implement. Because that shift in framing is very critical because many organizations jump to the technology before they understand the use case.
yes,
And we will often begin with questions like where are your biggest bottlenecks, what
yeah,
takes your team uh, this uh, disproportionate time for minimum value, where the team spend most
hmm,
of their manual work. And
yeah,
we talk about decision making, where do they lack insights for decision making. And once
hmm,
we understand this, then we have a very honest conversation about does it make sense to use AI to do what they are looking to solve for? And
hmm,
if it is, then we actually look at does it really move the needle? Because and we
hmm.
call this what we call is the discovery or value stream analysis. So we look
Okay,
at the problems, we also look at the solution in terms of how AI will integrate, and we also look at what is the outcome that we will get roughly, so that we are not going in with a blind mandate that we need to use an AI. Rather, we
mm,
say, this is where AI makes sense, and this is how it will make us better. And that change in terms of emphasizing around that AI isn't a magic, it's a tool that requires good data, clear
yeah,
objectives, and often significant change management.
mm,
Because people think once I have AI, everything will sort out. And our experience has proven again and again that you can give people a tool, but how they use the tool determines the effectiveness of the tool.
yes,
And we see it on a daily basis. And I will give an example. When we use any of the tool, you can pick up whether it is ChatGPT or Gemini
hmm,
or Cloud or Perplexity.
hmm,
You give the same task to two people,
hmm,
they will come out with different outcomes.
right,
Even as simple as that, right? Okay, just create a document for to showcase your skills or showcase our services. The outcomes that you will get and the documents that you will have will be of
mhm,
different quality, different strength,
yeah,
different nature. And that tells a lot about it is very important to enable people, teach them how to use it effectively. So
right,
what you're getting out from those tools are aligned to what we need to get from the
right,
tool. Otherwise, it
right,
becomes very, very difficult. You are increasing work by giving these tools to people.
hmm,
So we have to be mindful of how the overall, and we call this an interaction model. How do the
okay,
people interact with the tool among themselves, and how do they create the outcome that we need, right? So
yeah,
again, going back to my point, setting realistic expectation early, it helps organizations to use AI as a strategic capability rather than just a tool to build, not a quick fix.
yeah, and I love the way you're attaching some type of metric to that. So, are we going to, increase productivity by 40%?
Yes,
Like let's set a goal, and see if it's not worth it, then don't do it. Yeah,
absolutely. And going a step beyond from there, right? So because the way people understand productivity may be different depending on the context.
yes,
Productivity in a highly intellectual work is very different as opposed to a highly mechanical work.
yeah,
And that distinction is very important because if people are more productive, are we saying that we are generating more revenue? Are we saying we are saving time to focus on more useful stuff? And so on
Right.
and so forth. So understanding those nuances is very, very important.
Yes. I assume if you were talking about, if you were trying to compare the intellectual role with a customer service center, like a call center, that would really be drastically different, right? Because
Absolutely.
we're not analyzing how fast they close the call or how many if complaints went down.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. Number of
yeah.
calls versus number of happy customers. They might be very different metrics.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, definitely that's something new for me hearing that, hearing you say, let's first see if it's worth it first, instead of just
Yes.
jumping into it like, we need to have AI. So,
And I think on individual level though, right? My recommendation is that as an individual, we should explore and we should not wait for learning AI. So you should learn it the first
oh
moment
yeah,
you get. Yeah. So as an
yeah,
individual, you must learn AI. You must not wait because it does have a lot of positive sides as well, where you can become a lot more productive as an individual. You
yeah,
can do a lot many things, and if nothing else, it can act as a coach for you where you can ask questions
yeah,
and it can help you. It can become
yeah,
companion to you to kind of help you understand certain things or the things
yes,
of your choice. So as an individual, I don't give the suggestion that wait if it is good for you. No, it is definitely something that you should try or your hands on,
I
get into
agree.
it, get into the groove, learn it. As a company though, the things are different. So that's where you need to qualify, then decide, and then act.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I don't think that any business owner can afford to just ignore it. I
Yes.
really don't. Let's talk about any causes or community initiatives, or maybe charities that your organization is passionate about. Do you have any at Massivue?
We are particularly passionate about sustainability as this is something which is very near to both our heart as well as our business. So I believe we have a responsibility beyond the shareholder return and profitability. So in terms of our social initiatives, what we look at is we support few education initiatives. We mentor some of the young um, students to become brand ambassador on sustainability, and
Okay.
also help run some of the master classes on sustainability as a give back to the society. We are also running few courses where we are offering it for free for people who have lost their jobs for any or their income or regular income for any particular reason.
Yeah,
So as long as they have a valid cause, they can attend those courses for free. So this is our way of enabling people to get better at what they do, find new
yeah.
career options, and
Mhm.
also learn new things. So this is something that we do at this point in time.
Yeah,
And I believe as we
beautiful.
progress and grow more, we strongly believe to become more of a social enterprise. So to do good and do well for the society and the planet.
That's beautiful. I think that's wonderful and contributing and helping those who have lost their jobs to improve their skills is definitely a win for me. That's beautiful. Well, with the rise of AI and automation, what do you think leaders need to focus on to keep performance and people at the center of their strategy?
This is something that I talk a lot about, leadership and AI, and I think
Mhm.
one of the um, one of the key differences between a leader who is hugely successful with AI and a leader who is not is the
Mhm.
understanding that it is not just a pure efficiency play. These technologies obviously can do things faster and cheaper, but the real game is about augmentation, not replacement. So
Mhm.
when we talk about those leaders whom I consider smarter leaders, they start asking, how does this technology free my people to do more creative, strategic, or human-centered work? How do we reskill our teams so that they are working alongside these tools rather than competing with them?
Mhm.
And critically, how do we maintain trust, purpose, and our ethical boundaries to create an automated environment?
Yes.
These are the questions these smart leaders are looking at, right? So from a leadership perspective, the key difference is performance and people. They shouldn't be competing priorities. They should be interdependent.
Yes.
And organizations that figure out how to upskill their workforce, maintain meaningful work, and create cultures where people feel valued alongside the technological advancement, or AI
Yeah.
to be precise, will
Yes.
be the ones who will thrive. It's not an AI world only. It's an AI and human, right? So I call it human plus AI, which is a bionic age in a way where we come together to create something which is more meaningful, which is more
Mhm.
vibrant, and which is
Yeah.
more beneficial, not just to the mankind, but also to the planet. And that's where we see, the leadership focus should be.
Yeah.
And the question for leaders is, have you looked at AI from a lens of creativity, from a lens of not just saving time, but
Mhm.
exponential gaining more in the same time? I think those
Right.
are I call that shift in perspective. Those are the two shifts that leaders need to bring in their perspective to
Yeah.
think AI as a companion, not as a replacement.
So they need to focus on um, the people, not in terms of who can I lay off so that I can so that
I can save money.
I
Yes.
need less, I can use pay less salaries and use less people, but let's use the people we have and we can double the productivity. So
Yes.
instead of having ten workers, it will seem like we have 20 workers because they're so efficient.
Yes.
Yeah.
So to me, this is a time where businesses can grow exponentially. Like in your
Mhm.
example, when you have 10 people, you are actually delivering the value worth of 20 people. It is a
Yeah.
2x return.
Mhm.
Instead of looking at going from 10 to 5, which is your baseline, is still at the 10x what you were earning previously. So to
Yeah.
me, it's a question of changing your top line and changing your game of growth rather than
Yeah.
your game of cost.
Exactly. And that takes a lot of analysis into each individual's role. I know a lot of times when I'm in my needs analysis phase, I ask the responsibilities of the role for which they would like to train. A lot of companies, believe it or not, they don't have a role and responsibilities detail for each person. For each role, they I'm not sure what's happening. They're pulling it from job posts. They don't
Yes.
have. I'm like, well, are you doing performance reviews? Like, how are you? If you don't have responsibility